hardest part is that I can't see even inches in front of me. It does stink. It smells like wet dog.
Yeah. I think I just stepped into something here.
From venturing into the deepest, darkest woods as they search for one of the most elusive creatures to ever exist in the history of mankind, to the harrowing encounter with what could prove to be an aggressive interaction with this fabled creature that is rumored to be hiding in such a forest, here's how Mireya Mayor and the rest of the Expedition Bigfoot team realized that they had been surrounded by the legendary Bigfoot. Thinking about it, it is fair enough that these hunters of the paranormal and the supernatural on the Expedition Bigfoot team didn't really think that there would ever be any form of ambush when they went out searching for the legend that is Bigfoot.
It sounded like a couple of grunts. Like a That's weird.
For several centuries now, the many inhabitants of the continent of North America, especially in the USA, have told many tales in respect for this massive creature. Understandably, many of these people had gone out searching for this creature that was said to be some sort of hairy bipedal giant that just happened to have some semblance to us humans. With that in mind, all we have to prove that this creature even really exists are some dodgy Polaroids or some sketchy videos that are too dim or too grainy to actually see if the creature in the footage is actually Bigfoot. Even long before the advent of modern technology, all we had were the many tales passed down from the likes of the Native Americans and the early European settlers of what is now known as the United States of America today. Understandably, it is clear that the inconclusive proof that some cryptozoologists and Bigfoot enthusiasts are desperate to show us that Bigfoot is really real has proven to be quite evasive. That is why the likes of Russell Accord, Dr. Mireya Mayor, Ronnie LeBlanc, and Bryce Johnson have decided that they will not falter until they bring the legend of this fabled hairy giant to light. With such an intention in mind, it seemed like it would only be a matter of time before the Expedition Bigfoot team would eventually find this creature so that they could finally prove that it's real. Perhaps that is why they found themselves in these dodgy forests in the dead of night. At that point in time, they were following certain leads with their state-of-the-art thermal imaging equipment. That way, they would be able to spot the body heat of anything that may have been lurking around them in the dark. Maybe one of those things could be their elusive target, the legendary Bigfoot. Expedition in the dark. Amid whispers, the team stood vigilantly as they scanned the area, hoping that today may just be the day that they make their much-needed breakthrough. Soon, something of a breakthrough occurred when they spotted something huge in the horizon thanks to their thermal reading binoculars. That said, they were able to determine that it was just a bull. Sometime later, some deer and some elk also popped up in the dead of night as they foraged for an evening snack in the fields.
If you look over on this other hillside, there's a couple elk. I'll go ahead and get a little closer. Watch this. Bull. That's a big bull. These hills are completely alive with wildlife.
To be honest, this sort of came with the territory, as there must have been a good number of nocturnal creatures just having the time of their lives in these woods. Eager not to be distracted by the beauties of nature that they were finding during this expedition to find Bigfoot, they knew to remain as alert as possible. That may be the only way that they could find their strange and unusual target in this forest. Eventually, it looked like they got what they were asking for when they just happened to notice this strange presence that seemed to be loitering a few feet away from the other creatures that were feeding on the grass in the woods. It took the team by surprise, especially because it seemed to be much bigger than the rest of the creatures that they had been observing.
What in the heck is that? It's big. Get that zoomed in. Get details where it's all at.
No, it's not a bear. It's not even moving like a bear. It looks like it's trying to close in on him. It's hunting. Look at that. The elk saw it, look.
Eager to see if they can learn more about the creature while it was still there, the team decided that they would zoom in before they approached it physically. As they zoomed in, they were curious as to whether this could be a bear. After all, such predators were indigenous to such woods. This theory was soon dismissed, though, because although the presence of the creature seemed huge like a bear, it didn't seem to move like a bear. If anything, though, it looked like the creature was trying to hunt the herbivores that were grazing on the grass nearby. To be prey in the woods must be so tedious. These deer and elk must have some sort of sixth sense or something, because without their thermal reading camera of their own, they seemed to notice that something was strange about their situation. They began to scan the area as though they knew that something was stalking them in the dead of night. As the team were taking in how these deer and elk were trying to assess the situation, they were so distracted that it took them some time to realize that they had lost sight of the creature as well.
Where'd it go? It just disappeared. The elk noticed it?
Uh-oh. Where could it have gone? Could it have spotted them as they were watching it? Was it hunting them now? Scary thoughts to process, but the team eventually got their composure back. At that point, they concluded that the creature may have skirted off when it realized that the deer it was stalking may have been wise to its presence in the dark woods. With that in mind, the Expedition Bigfoot team figured that it decided to go down a ridge nearby.
It decided not to attack. I think it dropped into the kudzu and headed up on the ridge. I gotta let Bryce know about this. Nothing else is moving tonight. I know we're on the right path.
Not wanting to leave other members in the dark about such moments, the team decided that they had to let Bryce know about this immediately. Maybe he would have some insights for them to consider in the morning. Once they came to this conclusion, the team realized that it seemed that the Bigfoot activities may have come to an end. The howl that drew the creature out.
I just got something from Bryce, and he's uploaded a perceived Bigfoot howl from this local region or this local area. So it's great that I actually get a sound from this environment in this area that I can actually play and hopefully prompt a response.
The next day, the team was excited when they realized that they had just received a message from their man Bryce. Upon opening the message, they were excited when they saw that it told them that they had picked up a strange howl from the night before. Could the howl be attributed to their legendary cryptid? With such a sound in their hands, the team was excited to use it because they figured that maybe it would trigger a response from their Bigfoot if it was truly out there in the woods. This would be a sharp change from the extremely powerful system that they had the year before.
Last year, the team used an extremely powerful speaker system to broadcast a reported Bigfoot howl from within their target zone, and they received a call back from an unidentified animal.
Hear that?
Now armed with a new sound from Bryce, Russell can perform a similar broadcast.
During this time, the team was on an expedition in Oregon, and they were hoping that using this powerful set of speakers to broadcast a reported Bigfoot howl in the woods in that area would help them draw out their infamous target. Incredibly enough, this actually worked on some level. You see, when they broadcasted the strange howl that they had with them at the time, the team were equally shocked and excited when they got an even eerier response from the woods. There was definitely something strange out there, and maybe, just maybe, it could be their elusive Bigfoot. With such an experience in mind, you couldn't really blame the team for being excited that they had a brand new howl to broadcast in these woods. Maybe this could be the thing that would draw this creature out of its hiding place.
The game plan tonight is for Russ to play that vocalization from the ridge line and see if something responds. One concern is if there's an animal out there, we don't know what we'd be communicating to it. We could be making a distress call or provoking aggression. We just don't know.
Before they launched the sound, though, they tried to track the path that the strange creature from last night took when they lost it.
Something that we note with primates is that they have very distinct calls and vocalizations to express different things to members of the group. They make one that is specific to danger, like a predator.
They hoped that this would get them within range of it, so that they could get the best possible results when they finally broadcast the noise. Once the team got into position, Russell produced another piece of equipment that could change the tide when it came to the search for this creature in these woods. With his parabolic mic in hand, alongside the powerful speaker set, Russell was hoping that he would be able to make use of this mic to pick up noises that may be hundreds of feet away. If Russell is right, this would be the perfect piece of equipment to record whatever response they may get to their broadcast. there is every chance that they could actually get a recording of the creature that they and many others had been searching for all these years. His only hope was that the rest of the team was ready for anything that comes their way when they start their strange experiments in the middle of these woods. After some hours, Mayor and LeBlanc were on cue to inform Russell that they had assumed the perfect position for their experiment. This gave Russell the notice that he needed. Now that he was high above them on a cliff, he was in the perfect position to blast his broadcast with his speakers while the rest of the team observed what was going on down below. Excited for Russell to play that broadcast from the ridgeline, the rest of the team just couldn't wait to see what would respond to them. As excited as they seemed, they were well aware that they truly did not know what to expect from the forest when this broadcast was released into the wild. They weren't even totally certain about what the broadcast could mean to the creature in the woods. They knew that to these creatures, this noise could be anything ranging from a distress call to an assertive call of aggression. That said, they still weren't certain as to what they were going to get in the next few minutes. Hopefully, none of these creatures would react aggressively to the call. This takes their minds back to some of the lore concerning their Bigfoot or Sasquatch. It is believed that some of those who have gone out to find this creature for themselves have come back with tales of the aggressive nature of this elusive creature. Not only have they been known to charge at people, they have also been noted to hurl rocks at unwitting bystanders who just wanted to know if they were real. At the end of the day, these people have made it clear that it seems as though the Bigfoot is a big fan of its privacy, and as such, if it spots you, it would immediately let you know that you are not welcome within its territory. With such thoughts in mind, we must remark on how brave these people may seem in the moment. Not only is their field not taken seriously, it looks as though they are ready to risk their lives just so that it would be taken seriously. Well, if they are able to get any real proof of the existence of this creature, maybe they will be the ones who will prove all the naysayers wrong.
If you're ready to play that call, we are too.
Sounds good. Give me about 60-second count.
All right, sounds good.
Now we listen.
For now, though, the members of the team got into position so that they can get on with their experiment. The time for waiting in fear had come to an end. Now, it's time to draw the beast out of its hiding place. Within moments, Russell blasted the eerie howls from his powerful speaker system, disturbing the peace and serenity of the forest in the dead of night. After a moment of silence that seemed like it would last forever, the forest began to respond. First, it was the chirping crickets. Then it was the restless shuffling of those who weren't as vocal as some of their counterparts in the forests. Then came the howling of the coyotes in the woods. That said, nothing else out of the ordinary came out of the first blast of the howls in the forest. Undeterred, Russell wanted to play the sound out once more. He accepted that the forest had acknowledged their presence, but that is not what they were here for. What they were there for was to get a response from none other than their Bigfoot. Whether or not it liked it, it was going to make itself known to them.
Be listening.
There we go. Standing by.
With that in mind, Russell gave the team a few seconds to poise themselves before he blasted out another broadcast of that creepy howl. Once it was released, the team was triggered by the sound of an even more alarming howl that rose above the rest of the noise that was created by the critters in the forest. You could almost see the hairs standing on the arms and the back of the necks of these Bigfoot hunters as they endured the eerie noise. What had they triggered with their broadcast now? Could it be their cryptid target? Or could it be something that was way more dangerous than the legendary Bigfoot?
Tell me you heard that.
Ronnie, what was that?
I don't know. I've never heard anything like that. That was crystal clear.
There's no way that was a coyote.
that had a more of a whistle, long-term whistle.
Hey, Russ, are you making calls again?
That's not me.
The Night Stalker or stalkers. As eerie as this sound was, Russell contributed to the creepiness factor by claiming that he had been hearing some strange sounds all around them all this time as well. This is even more shocking as this was said right after Bryce claimed that he had not heard anything while he was out there, not since he had called them. Did that mean that he didn't even hear the howls of the coyotes and the other creatures out there? While we cannot say for now, what we do know is that the team seemed to have walked into a bit of a sticky situation. With that in mind, the team stood in position, looking around to see if there truly was anything that was lurking in the darkness around them. To make things even worse, it seemed as though Russell was able to determine that there were some things that may be on either side of them. Alas, try as they may with their torches, they just weren't able to spot anything due to how thick the woods were and how dark the night was. Their only hope was that these two creatures that were lurking in the darkness were not dangerous enough to bring them harm. Eventually, though, the team was able to point out that whatever was stalking them in the darkness seemed to be coming from one direction in particular. Somehow, they were able to muster enough bravery to see if they could confront whatever seemed to be tracking them down.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Something either fell or was thrown just now.
There's definitely movement over here. I think something's coming up this way.
Rather than standing in fear or breaking down in hysterics, the team tried to move towards the creature. They hoped that they would be able to lift the veil of darkness so that they could expose it right there and then. Unfortunately, they would ultimately fail as the creature proved to be too evasive for them. To make matters worse somewhat, it seemed as though the creature was eventually able to give them the slip. Although it seemed to avoid them, it couldn't do so as stealthily as it may have liked. Just as the team seemed to have given up on finding the creature, they were startled by a clearly audible rustling of the leaves on a tree nearby. Understandably, the team was drawn to the noise, so they tried to follow it in the hope that it would reveal the creature. They even assumed that it may even be making its way back to them. Maybe this was some sort of Hail Mary for the team, as they were hoping to leave this forest with something conclusive that proved that they were in the midst of the legendary cryptid. Unfortunately, the creature seemed to be too good at hiding. It proved to be so good at being evasive that the team eventually became disoriented as they could no longer tell where the sound was coming from. It didn't help that now they were hearing constant pops and cracks from several different directions as well. All they knew was that they couldn't pinpoint where exactly it was coming from. Eventually, though, LeBlanc seemed to be able to gather himself well enough to point out that it seemed as though whatever they had been tracking now seemed to be tracking them instead.
The sound we heard was back there, but whoever had made that sound is probably coming around this way now, because we keep on hearing those pops and cracks. They're coming around now. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3. There are 3, not 2.
In fact, he seemed to be able to confirm that the creatures were tracking them from behind these particular set of trees. If any of the team members doubted him, they didn't do so for long when they realized that they were hearing the snapping of branches and the rustling of leaves from the exact same direction that LeBlanc had pointed towards. Frightened and excited, Russell even went as far as pointing out that they had made a mistake earlier on. It seemed that they were being followed by not 1, not 2, but 3 of these mysterious creatures, hiding in the darkness in these woods. Oh boy. With that in mind, the team held their positions while they waited for what would come next. With Russell waiting high above for any distress calls from the rest of the team, this proved to be an exciting yet distressing moment for the members of the Expedition Bigfoot team. Sure, many people are passionate about what they do, but are they all ready to risk their lives to reveal the truth? Well, that is what Dr. Mireya Mayor and the rest of the team are willing to put on the line to reveal the truth about the existence of this strange creature. For too long, they had to endure the ridicules of so-called experts who disregarded their evidence and research when it came to proving that creatures like these are walking the earth today. Sure, it didn't help that all the evidence that people tried to use to prove that this creature was real was sketchy at best. It had been eons since the public laid their eyes on this mythical creature, but it still didn't mean that the creature didn't walk this planet. With any luck, the guys at Expedition Bigfoot would be able to come out of this harrowing situation with the evidence that they need to finally prove that this creature is real. Sure, this is a bit of a sticky situation, especially as we just noted how wild and aggressive Bigfoot could be when forced to interact with strangers. But who knows? Maybe they could end up getting some groundbreaking photos of the experience. Maybe some casts of some footprints? Who knows? What we do know is that the world is eagerly watching as this group uses the best technology and research information available to them as they track this creature down. With any luck, this would help them bring the legend of Bigfoot to an end once and for all. From venturing into the deepest, darkest woods as they search for one of the most elusive creatures to ever exist in the history of mankind, to the harrowing encounter with what could prove to be an aggressive interaction with this fabled creature that is rumored to be hiding in such a forest. Here's how Mireya Mayor and the rest of the Expedition Bigfoot team realized that they had been surrounded by the legendary Bigfoot.